Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, here to ask, who is the new villain of NBA 2K26 after the patch to 7.4s makes them feel like they're really not the guy anymore to be the villain, if you ask me. I think it's honestly kind of a bit of a dud on the court. Not really good at anything and terrible at defense for that matter too. That's just my take. I have this as the legacy pick for the villain of 2K26 still. It's just the type of guy that, like, you know, isn't actually that much of a problem anymore, but people will still see them as a big boogeyman of the game, if you ask me. Now, the real boogeyman of the game, in my opinion, comes down to the three candidates that we have here. We have, in the most elite of elite people's hands, 6'1 to 6'3 screen using guards that are fading off the screens and stuff like that. The dudes that are absolutely disgusting with like the dribble combos and stuff like that, going back and forth off the screens, hitting the threes. We did make a video yesterday on how to deal with people like this if you would like to check that out. But the other real villain candidate, in my opinion, is low-key Kitchen's build. The 6'11" stretch playmaker that is coming out here like a point guard, but can also play off ball, be not a liability on defense, if anything, a plus player on defense rather than a negative. And then creeping in the shadows is the style that we will be showing at the end of the video. And let me tell you, I think if more people catch on to this, it could be really, really disgusting. But let's get straight into this. I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to noties, all good stuff, and like always, try to win 1,000 likes. Alright, so first of all, I want to start this off with a guard discussion. We're going to be showing Kitchen's build versus a small guard and show you kind of just both of the two at the same time being on the court and show you the type of factor that they can both be at the same time. Now, I will show a second gameplay of that as well, where the guard is playing a little bit better, but as you can see, this one in this case is a 99 3.62 with he's making, like, you know, 13.5 points per game, an assist and a half per game as well. Again, 99 3.94 ball handling, good speed with ball as well. And then Kitchen, on the other hand, is going to be on his 6'11" at the 2 right here with 99 pass act, 90 3-pointer, and 93 mid-range. And as you can see, shooting at an insane rate as far as the percentages go. He has been shooting a little bit off my legend dimer too, though, I cannot lie. But what this lineup is essentially made to do, me, Kitchen, and Bonnie, is attack centers, the opposing centers, or in a secondary effect, attack the opposing point guards. So you'll see both of those on display here. You're going to see that early we try and go to Bonnie with the center on him. So I'm just going to start with the ball in hand. We're going to have Bonnie set me an off ball, and then, or more of a screen per se. And then as you can see, they pay too much attention off that same side corner. Boom, Kitchen gets the 3. Now this is just as a catch and shoot player, mind you. And he's also not a complete liability defensively. It's still a very good build on defense. It's just that we do have two builds that, in my opinion, are a little bit more equipped for the pick and roll defense against these types of a 99 3-point fade guard. So we put Kitchen in the corner. Just understand that that is what you're going to be seeing. Now, as you can see, they got a little guy on Kitchen. Not exactly a good look either, but they do still have a big on Bonnie as well. Now, we bail from going to Bonnie right here, and now you're going to see Kitchen pretty much cook up this whole game. You can see the guard can't contest him. I mean, fading is already pretty overpowered in this game, but then add in the fact that you're 6'11" with legend shifty shooter, mind you, that's pretty wild, while also just being uncontestable and being on a fade animation of that normal 2 that is just capable of flying around the court while fading. It's pretty gross, to be real. Now, as you can see, the guard, on the other hand, he's cooking up pretty good. Unfortunately, doesn't get a good shot animation, and I get a 30% contest right there. They're already off to a bit of a bad start. Now, once again, they have their point guard on Kitchen. It's not a good look, but neither is the center on Bonnie. He does get the contest, but as you can see, if you get a shot on the center, leads to a free offensive rebound. And once again, we just find Kitchen wide open in the corner. So again, he's blending into the offense. He's not necessarily being the type of guy that we have to play the whole game through, but he's still going to get his points, and you will see him cook up in this game as well. Now, as you can see, they got the big man on Kitchen now, so let's go ahead and go to that. We're going to have Kitchen wrap up, and you're going to see me stay away. And now the big is not only too slow to keep up with him, but even when Kitchen doesn't get his good fade animation to pop off, still hits the 14. But again, it's still not even fully untapped as far as the potential goes. I mean, the big can't keep up with Kitchen and the guard can't guard him, so that leaves a lockdown on him. But this is the thing, the lockdowns are supposed to be guarding me. I'm supposed to be our point guard, really. So we're pretty much coming out here with 2 point guards of me and Kitchen, and Bonnie's more of our lockdown, essentially. And then I'm kind of pretending to be a lockdown while playing defense in this, but not really meant to be quite as much. Point is that, you know, when you can afford to have 2 guards on the court and neither of them can both be guarded by a lock at the same time, because there's only one lock on the court right now, it can lead to you being able to exploit those weak matchups really well. So as you see right here, low-key get beat pretty bad, but I get a little bit of a jump. It's an open. Hey, like I said, the guards are still very capable. The small guards are definitely to be a threat in terms of like who is the new boogeyman of 2K26. But as you're going to see, Kitchen moving around and stuff here and coming out here just ISOing the big man. Look at this. This is the thing. If you want to put the big on him instead of the guard, what I'm going to do is move this lockdown down to the paint. Lockdown's got a rebound with me now. So guess what? Big man, I'm leaving him on an island. Kitchen's going to ISO, but in a different weird way. It's not a double corner ISO where it's just 2 traffic cones. I'm sitting block with the lockdown on me, so the lock has to play the boards with me. And then if he gives that up and double teams Kitchen right here, I have a free rebound with only the point guard involved. So, point being, Kitchen demands a lockdown on him. You cannot have anything but a lockdown, and that's not exactly the role that it's supposed to be fitting into. Again, the locks are supposed to be guarding me, right? Problem is, the locks being on me means it's bad rebounding, and then it also means that they're not on Kitchen. So the bigs of the guard have to guard Kitchen at that point. It's a really tough scene. Kitchen also contributes to the rebounds quite a bit off that corner. You're not going to see it quite as much in this game or anything like that, but, I mean, the build can do it all. It's a rebounding off the corner type of build. It can still switch on screens. And also, I don't want to cut out possessions, so you can see us doing some troll stuff. Unfortunately, you know, not really getting the most out of that and really playing through Kitchen with his, you know, deep bomber, which I don't know why in the world we wouldn't be. But as you can see, Kitchen swooping in off that corner for the rebound. Gonna hit the blowout dribble into the quick stop. This man is different, bro. He's coming out here doing some stuff I've never even seen people do before. But apparently, if you want the tutorial on how to do this, I don't really got the stick tutorial for you. But what Kitchen tells me is, he stops his blowout dribble by holding to the right on his right stick and then rhythm shooting like that. So it's not down because you would get a fade if you did that. But apparently, if you do to the opposite of the ball hand to start the rhythm shot and hold to the right and then move the stick up to finish the rhythm shot like you normally would, you then can still like do those quick stops off the, you know, blowout dribble right there in transition. And again, mind you, fellas, that's a 6'11" build doing that stuff. He's coming out here rebounding off the corner. You know what the other point guard's not going to do? Rebound off the corner. They can't do that type of stuff. Bro's way too big and just way too fast and mobile and stuff like that, and actually is a true threat out here. And then as you can see, Kitchen out on the break again. 21 points, 7 for 7. The opposing guard goes 2 for 7, and the whole offense got run through him, whereas Kitchen's was more of a natural fit in that doesn't force you to run through one player the entire game. Again, like I said, we had a couple takes of Bonnie trying to wrap up on the big man. Didn't get a good opportunity at it, so that's fine. We had a couple takes of me like trying to ISO. Doesn't matter though, because we got so many options as far as people we can wrap up and demand attention from the threes, as opposed to these guys running their entire team through one guy, and if he fails, the whole team fails. Simple as that, right? Now, remind you guys, this video is to kind of prop up Kitchen in his build and what this thing is capable of and how this is the real new kryptonite or boogeyman of 2K, if you ask me, the new villain. But what you are going to see is we're in the stage on the 10K court right here, going against another guard that's averaging 15 points per game, 64% from 3, 96 speed with ball, 95 ball handle, and 99 three-pointer. That is tough. That is really, really good. Like, that's the highest speed with ball I've seen on one of these guards, and it's tough to keep up with that, obviously. So then we obviously still have our man Kitchen at the 2 right here, shooting once again 82% from 3, high pass sack. They got a pure lock perimdy guy at the 2 right here that we are going to be trying to avoid for the most part. 94 speed, 95 steal, 99 perim, 6'6". Not really out here to do a whole lot more other than just play D, obviously, right? And then the big man right here is going to be an offense rebound demon right there, 99 O board, being able to still hit the threes occasionally while also being good for the pick and rolls, and still has, like, you know, again, O board, strength, vert, dunk, D board, and then decent defense as well. So anyway, 10K court. It's our first gameplay of actually being on this in 26. I haven't really been able to get games. A lot of times the only time people even play this is, it seems to be in, like, you know, actual organized matchups or like series essentially, where they're actually, like, you know, like I said, organizing it and lining up together. So right here you can see they have the lock on Kitchen early. We're not going to try and target him like too much early, but then they switch their guard onto him. Not the right decision. Now, he does end up missing that, but relocate to the corner and miss again. Now, here's the thing. You're not going to see him do that too much more in this game, all right? Obviously, it's wide open catch and shoots. You can understand that, like, you know, that's something everybody can make, obviously, right? First game on the stage, unfortunately, so the timing is a little bit tough to, like, pick up on. As you can see right here, a little bit of a late pass to the big man right there. They don't get that down, and then boom, I'm up on the guard right there. Get a 19% contest off the ghost contest, and Bonnie kind of contributing with the hands up or jump right there. A little bit ugly on the inbound, unfortunately, but they're still putting their guard on Kitchen. Honestly, might even be a good thing that he missed so many shots right there, because it's low-key a bad first impression, and they might think that they can get away with having their guard on him. But as you can see, I mean, that's 2 threes already, and we don't even have really a lineup that's supposed to, like, funnel through the three-point line. As you can see, guard trying to fade. Once again, nothing doing right there. Kitchen with an unfortunate early jump, and then I'm into the pick and roll D with Kitchen right there. As you can see, he's doing a decent job, but does still get dexed around, and there is what we're talking about with, like, the whole power of the small guards. It is tough for Kitchen to keep up with those, obviously, in an isolated area, so that is one thing I will knock his build on, obviously, but same thing can be said. the small guards can't guard him. So it's a bit of a tough matchup for either of them to even be around each other. You don't exactly want it. So what a lot of teams should do, once again, is put the lock on Kitchen and probably the big on me. But then the thing is, we can just put them into the screens. We can just like have their big man, like, you know, I'm holding screens. Kitchen's going to turn into a pick and roll ball handler. And then it becomes a bit of an issue where the big still has to guard Kitchen. Or again, the guard could even do stuff like that. We can run off ball screens, get Kitchen involved on stuff like that. Now right here you can see, unfortunately, I throw a little bit of an ugly pass to Bonnie. But now the guard's on Bonnie. I'm going to go for the meter dunk right here. Just get an easy possession of just taking a 2 right there. I get 2-way tenacity off stuff like this too. So it's pretty beneficial. It helps for like actually guarding the pick and roll and stuff. But we will still allow Bonnie to attack the guard as well. And this is where I just would like to mention that Kitchen's build can kind of blend in pretty well and is exactly what we were talking about in the last gameplay. Doesn't have to be the center of attention, but is still good at being the play initiator and actually being one of the best offensive options. As you can see though, a little bit of a tough time unfolding for these guys. The lock though, for real bro, lock hits a 38% contest on the rhythm shot at the buzzer in the corner right there. Keeps them in the game for that matter too. That's a huge shot. Like it really is a game changer. So anyway, we're gonna be looking for Bonnie on these wrap ups once again. I'm gonna have this on the give and go though, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take it. We get the 2-way once again. It's an easy take. It is what it is. But again, Kitchen's kind of just finding his way into just the role player aspect of the game now if they have the lock on him. So not trying to force him into the game, but man, as you can see, like it's tough to keep up if we're taking our 2s right here. These dudes are hitting contested shots left and right. Not a great look. So I have the play take. We're going to allow Bonnie to move around a tad bit. As you can see, boom, getting those dexes and stuff like that. The thing that I really want to mention with the small guard is that I don't feel like you can attack Kitchen's build quite as much either, as opposed to the way that we're attacking this guard. As you can see, we're running the whole offense through him pretty much because he's playing with some great defender builds on the court as well. And as you can see, once again, contributing off the corner right there, though he doesn't make a huge defensive impact in this game, as you can see, we're not down there on the box out good enough. This big has Bonnie boxed out. While I am getting a good contest on this, if you have a small guard in Kitchen's spot right here, this is not a rebound. This is a free board for the big man every time. But as you can see, Kitchen swooping in off that corner right there, grabbing the board that low-key secures the game for us, for that matter. Now, as you can see, fading off the top right there. Wasn't at the three-point line, but we're feeding for that 3 to be able to get a bigger lead. And as you can see, gets the fade right there to go. These guys have already given up. Crazy thing to do, though, if you ask me. A little bit of a crash out from them. And as you can see, Kitchen open for 3 once again on the catch and shoot. 4 for 6. But again, the guard, 11 points, very contested shots. But the problem isn't his offense. The problem is that he was getting picked on the entire game defensively. If the guard ends up on me, I obviously have free rebounds, or I can just dominate him in the paint, whether that be through the scoring, or also, once again, I could just sit block and let Kitchen just fade from 3 all game, and then just play the boards. If the guard ends up on Bonnie, we are still capable of attacking him there, and if the guard ends up on Kitchen, it's toast. He's too small and he can't get the contests, and he still can't even really guard the fades that well in the first place. So, all in all, what would you say is the better build? I just gotta ask, especially for a lot of casuals out there. Like, a lot of you can pick up Kitchen's build and blend in as a good role player and just a good stretch spot up while not being a liability to your team defensively and still contributing in the versatility defensively and the rebounding and stuff like that off the corner, as well as, once again, could be like a good pick and pop option, could be a good pick and roll ball handler if you develop that type of skill with yourself on the build. And I mean, it even still has 87 dunk. It could get contact dunks. It could ISO for that matter if you really want it to. Okay, so now boys, I've been sitting on this gameplay for a long time. Our team has like 100-something games played now on the 3v3 Pro Am, and as you can see, I'm rewinding all the way back to the point where we had 11 games. This is pre-patch gameplay. Now, I'm here to show you this because I think it really could be enabled after the patch and how fading has become so meta and so king in this game. And what we've been showing you of me sitting block with a guard on me or a lock on me with Kitchen with the big is kind of duplicated right here. So what you're going to see out of this lineup, and I want to break it down slow for you, is a 6'8" that is shooting, 12 points per game, 72% from 3, really good as far as like his, utility on offense. You kind of wonder, how is he going to get that though? 6'8", how does that blend in? ISO, is that like more of a pick and roll offense, stuff like that? Then at the 2, they have once again another guy that's averaging 12.5 per game on 74% from 3. And then also an assist and a half per game. And he also has high dunk, high three-pointer, and good ball handle with a 95 perimdy. And then at their big man, they have a footer that has 94 O board, 91 strength, and 90 D board with a high standing dunk. I don't know if this is starting to click for you guys, but you're thinking it's probably a pick and roll offense. The thing is, this is going to be an ISO offense, but with a block sit. This is going to be a big dog sitting in the paint that can still shoot the ball and pop to the corner if they need him to, if they were threeing up and giving up wide open paint points, right? The problem is too, you can sit here and theorize all day that you can just leave the big man wide open and double team the guard and force them to pass the ball. What if they don't pass the ball though? What if they can't be guarded on the fades in the first place? So you're going to see us come up top right here, and they're going to start off in their pick and roll offense. You can see though, they do have 2 capable guards. They're going to have a 1 and a 2 that can both do this stuff, and let me tell you, this is looking tough. I've only played 1 team that has played like this, and it's these guys. I was waiting on this gameplay for some post-patch gameplays because I figured people would be running this after patch, but I haven't seen anybody do this yet except for this team right here, where once again, let me remind you, their 1 and their 2 are both going to be capable of coming out here and fading from 3 while they have a big man sitting in the paint. Now, what I was telling you guys is the problem, right, is that, and this is not Kitchen's build anymore, by the way. He's on a lockdown, and as you can see, he wraps up. But what the problem is if I leave that big man wide open, what if they just chuck the shot on the double team and the big man just grabs the board every time? Because we are not going to be able to swoop in off the corner on a build that has this high of rebounding. So I kind of have to guard the guy down low, if you ask me, and play this 2K15 style is what I captioned it right here, as you can see. Or apparently, unfortunately, I captioned it wrong, and it's 2K215. But anyway, the point is, this reminds me a lot of what people did in 2K15. It was ISO with the big man sitting paint and just holding B, and essentially the guards would ISO for 3 all day, because in that game the scoring was by 2s and 1s. So the value of a 3-pointer was double that of a 2-point shot, or a dunk, if you will. So the point is that me taking something like this back in the day was worth 1 point, and the shot that the guy hit before that was worth 2. It was a huge deal, and games went to, like, 15 essentially. But the thing is, there was also no offensive 3 seconds, so you would just send people down to the block, hold B button, and just dogfight for the rebound, like me and this big man right here are going to be doing all game. Problem is though, you can't double. You can't like send any help or anything like that. So Bonnie's on an island if I'm going to be playing the rebound right here. And as you can see, the dude just has an open court everywhere to be fading somewhere. Now, I've heard a lot of people complain about faders off of screens, but I think this is even more dominant if you ask me. You don't have to have like a reader at point guard that is going to come out here and really just like, dice up the whole defense, have to be so locked in and be ready to like dot the big man on the slip, hit the big man on pick and pops, tell them what to do, tell them to do this, tell them to do that. It's everything you get out of ISO, but with the potential to have more spacing on the 3-point line. You don't have 2 corners that are sitting on the 3 quite as much, so you have all the room in the world to move anywhere you want, because you and your teammate that are at the 1 and the 2 have all the room everywhere just to like hold that 3-point line all to yourself. So again, if I'm playing the rebound, Bonnie's going to be all alone. And look at these LT cancels this dude's doing right here. And once again, I got to play that dogfight on the boards. I can't like leave that, because obviously I'm going to have a hard time doing that. And even still, they can come out here with the ISO style. That's more with like that off ball that the dude was setting right there as the big man. And then I have no choice but to help that, because we got to defend the 3s. So fortunately, we're able to get Bonnie on that wrap up right there. He gets the 3 and it keeps us in the game 10-11. But as you can see, they've given us a lot of problems with this. Even off missed shots, I've still not been able to grab the board. They're coming out here and running 2-man game now, where they're having the guys pick and pop with each other, opening up the court, allowing it to be all a 3-point based offense. Now, as you can see, they're moving my guy to the top. They're making it so I can't help, and they're trying to get an easy 2. Here's the thing. He missed a pretty easy take right there. Obviously, if dudes have builds that are optimized for dunking, like that guy did, it's a bit of a toughie that he didn't get the dunk. That might be the game saver for us right there, to be real with you, because if he did make that, not only do we not end up in transition, and then they just are spiraling from here, obviously, but they obviously would have had, like 2 more points at that point. It would have been a tie game. But anyway, we're able to kind of like, get our offense moving a little bit here. Bonnie has 2-way, so we're looking for him. And as you can see, he hits a little escape move right there, gets a nice shot. And now we have a pretty sizable lead, 16-11. You would think, let's just D up on the 3 from this point, like send a lot of double team. Don't let this guy really get too much cook from the 3-point line. But as you can see, I mean, it's tough, man. What's Bonnie going to do? Leave the big man wide open on the rebound? It's like I just said, you can't necessarily do that. If the guard just chucks shots, we're not going to have anybody down here on the board. So I get beat to the corner, unfortunately jump, and as you can see, for the second time, the dude greens a shot on the fade with an early timing and green the tempo. And I mean, once again, we give up another 3-pointer, and it's just a tough style to stop of the ISO from 3 that is all based on fading, and you have so much like, comfortability, and as you can see, I get baited right there, but you have so much comfortability to just chuck the 3s because you have someone sitting in the paint ready to play your boards and just completely bail you out on any missed shots that you would have, as opposed to if you do that on like, let's say a 3-out style of 2 guys spotting up corner, they're not going to be down there for the rebound as efficiently. The defenders are in the way between them and the basket. So there are easier opportunities at the boards for the defenders as opposed to when the big man is just sitting paint like on, you know, possessions like this. So as you can see, once again, guard going to come out here looking for the fades. He's hitting these cancels right here on the snatchbacks. Once again, though, big man is just giving me problems on the boards. I have to swing out because obviously Bonnie tried to attack it and we double teamed it. Big man's still grabbing the board. So as you can see, he's canceling, bro. He's canceling his drift moves and it's an absolute nightmare to guard. I hear a lot of people cry about stuff like this, but they act like since a screen's in the way, it's the most impossible thing to guard. Look at this. He's got Bonnie beat a little bit, so he tries recovering right there. Goes for the jump, doesn't get it, and as you can see, he's canceling into the like 3-point fades even still. While the big is there to stop them like from ever ending their possession if you're not contending on the rebound with a build that can do it down low. And I'm assuming what would happen is if it weren't for me being so mobile or anything like that, they probably would utilize the screener or they would use the big man as a screener and force me into the pick and rolls if I was, let's say, a 7-4 or something like that. That was way, you know, less efficient as far as the defender goes. So fortunately, as you can see, we get good positioning right there finally, get the box out, get the rebound, and then possession ends. And now I'm coming out here with the ISO. As you can see, you know this is an old gameplay when I'm using poster machine, but boom, they go, you know, 5 for 8 from 3. You'd think that's the end all be all, but they had 2 offensive rebounds. So that's like a couple possessions that didn't even die out. And then unfortunately had a turnover as well. But like I said, I was waiting for some more gameplay of this because I figured more people would be playing like this. But no, it's been really low key and really under the hood as far as people even running something like this. So I just wanted to show you this as what I think could really be the eventual villain of 2K26 is for people to run something that people ran 10 years ago or 11 years ago in 2K and bring it back and truly have a lineup optimized for running something like this. Maybe even 2 small guards, 2 6'4s or something like that, fading from 3 all over the place. You have nowhere to hide your big man other than to just play the rebound. And once again, if you do have a big man that doesn't belong guarding one of those 6'4s or something like that, then they bring him into the screens and run the pick and roll fades and stuff like that all day because you have a big that can't contend on the boards. So if you have one that can contend on the rebounds, again, you're probably going to struggle in terms of guarding the PNR, but if you have one that can guard the pick and roll, you're probably going to have one that's going to struggle on the block sit rebound. So it's a tough combo. I think we got bailed out right here. We went 9 for 9 and like didn't have a turnover or anything like that, but I'm not going to lie. It was ugly offense. We weren't running our stuff really super clean. They had like good defensive builds and stuff like that, double 6'8s and a footer. We were able to kind of attack the other team's big man a tad bit, but yeah, I mean, I don't really know if we deserve to win this game quite as much. And at the end of the day, if we were playing people that like really were hitting their shots while running something like this, and even still had the guy sit and block for the O boards, I think this could be a real problem in 26. So, just a little bit of a blast back to the past. I think it could be kind of fun though. I enjoy the idea of like a dogfight on the rebounds, just truly 2 dudes sitting down low, boxing each other out, trying to fight for the board. It was a fun time back in 15, to be real with you. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not really here to say it'd be a fun time if this is all I ever played, but it'd be fun if it was implemented a little bit more. Because, man, I'm not going to lie. People getting put on an island to guard that ISO and have the whole 3-point line to themselves to fade to the corner, to the wings, everywhere, and not be able to help a lick at all. Because you can't help off that corner unless you force the guard over to that side of the court. But it's unrealistic to think you can force the guard to, like, you know, operate on the same side as his corner spot up or something like that. Like, for instance, if you were to take away the guard's left right here, force him over to the corner, that is in theory the way that you'd want to play this to allow your corner defender to maybe play some help if he ever could. But again, when the court is so spaced out like this, it's rare that you'll be able to get an opportunity like that. So I think they kind of sold by running any pick and roll in the first place. I think that was dumb and really bad, and what I think was just the better look was to come out here and ISO. The thing is, we had a good lineup optimized for guarding something like this. We had me on a 6'10 that wasn't easily exposed in the pick and roll. We had Kitchen on a pure lock, 99 block, you know, 6'9", 92 perim. And then we had Bonnie also on a 6'8" that's pretty much a lockdown as well. So it's a bit of a tough lineup to go at, but anywhere where there's a guard on the court against this, like if we had a 6'4" and below guard, bro, they'd be going at whichever of us that was all game and either get the ISOs on the 6'4" or, God forbid, the 6'4" ended up on the big man and tried to like contend on the rebounds. That wouldn't exist, obviously. So I don't know. This lineup can really expose people for sure. So I just wanted to give the image of what you might see develop a little bit here. And I don't even think it's that bad of a thing if I were to inspire some people into doing something like this. Because at the end of the day, a new style being added to 2K would be fun. I think that's my truth. So, anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, stuff, if you're new, turn on noties, all that good stuff. Like always, try this 1 to 1,000 likes. And if you made it to the end of the video, put whichever of the builds you think is the new boogeyman of 2K26. If you think it's Kitchen 611, feel free to chime in on that. If you think it's this style right here, you can, you know, make note of that. If you think it's the small guards, if you think it's still the 7-4s, feel free to drop a comment. Tell me who you think is the new villain of 2K26. Anyway, that's all for the video. Hope you all enjoyed. And other than that, take it easy, man. Peace.